It was raining that evening, the kind of relentless, cold rain that seeps through your clothes and makes every step feel heavier than the last. Mark was walking home from work, shoulders hunched, thinking about the pile of bills waiting on his kitchen table and the argument he'd had with his neighbor earlier that day. He barely noticed the small figure huddled under the fire escape until he was almost past it. First, he thought it was just a stray dog, the kind that wanders the streets of his city, looking for scraps and shelter. But there was something about the way it shivered, the way its eyes met his in a silent plea, that made him stop. Mark was not usually the type to stop for anything, let alone a wet, dirty dog. But something in that gaze held him, tugging at a part of his heart he didn't even know was there. Before we dive in, if you enjoy stories that warm the heart and remind us why kindness matters, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and leave a comment down below. Join our community here at Kindness Story Hub. We share stories that inspire and uplift. Mark knelt down slowly, careful not to scare the dog. It was small, maybe a terrier mix, and trembling from the cold. Its fur was matted, soaked from the rain, and it looked up at him with wide, trusting eyes. Mark's first instinct was to walk away. He was late for dinner, tired, and already carrying the weight of his worries. But then the dog whimpered, a sound so fragile and helpless that Mark felt his chest tighten. "Hey there, buddy," he said softly, holding out a hand. The dog sniffed it cautiously before pressing its wet nose against his fingers. It seemed harmless enough, and for a moment, Mark considered just leaving it there. But the rain showed no sign of stopping, and the thought of this tiny creature alone in the storm made something inside him shift. He couldn't. Not this time. He picked up the dog and tucked it inside his jacket, pressing it close to keep it warm. The dog's small body shook against him, but it didn't struggle. Mark hurried home, glancing over his shoulder as if expecting someone or something to appear. When he got inside, he set the dog gently on the kitchen floor and grabbed a towel. As he dried the dog, he noticed a collar around its neck. It wasn't just any collar, it was clean, with a small, shiny tag. Mark leaned closer, squinting through the steam rising from the towel. On the tag was a name, Charlie. And beneath it, a phone number. Mark's hands trembled slightly as he dialed the number. He wasn't sure what he expected, maybe that no one would answer, maybe that the dog was truly a stray after all. But the phone rang only twice before a woman's voice, anxious and almost trembling, answered. "Hello," she said. "Hi," Mark said. "I think I found your dog." "Charlie?" There was a pause on the other end, followed by a gasp. "Oh my God, yes. That's Charlie. Thank you. Thank you so much. Where are you?" Mark gave her his address, and within 20 minutes, there was a knock at his door. When he opened it, he was met with a woman in her late 30s, soaked from the rain, tears streaming down her face, calling out, "Charlie! Charlie!" The dog ran to her instantly, jumping into her arms, licking her face as she hugged it tightly. Mark stepped back, feeling a lump form in his throat. He had expected gratitude, sure, but he hadn't expected this raw, overwhelming relief, this pure joy. It was like witnessing a miracle unfold in slow motion. "I can't believe it," the woman said, looking at Mark. "I've been searching for him all evening. I was about to put up posters." He ran out when the door was left open for just a second. Thank you so much for bringing him back." Mark shrugged, a little embarrassed by the attention. "I just couldn't leave him out in the rain," he said. She smiled at him, a smile that seemed to come from deep inside her soul. "You saved more than just him," she said softly. "I can't tell you how much this means to me. He's my son's best friend. Charlie's been through a lot, and losing him would have broken our hearts." Mark felt a warmth spread through him, a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time. It wasn't about recognition or reward, it was about the quiet, undeniable impact of one small act of kindness. Something so simple, just picking up a stray dog, had changed someone's entire evening, maybe even their life. As she prepared to leave, she turned back to Mark. "Please," she said, "if you're ever around and see something small, something that needs help, don't hesitate. The smallest acts can mean the world." She smiled one last time, and with Charlie tucked under her arm, she disappeared into the rainy night. Mark closed the door slowly, letting the warmth of the house and the echo of that moment settle inside him. He realized something important that night: kindness doesn't have to be monumental. It doesn't have to fix the world in one go. Sometimes, it's just noticing a small creature shivering under a fire escape. Sometimes, it's stopping for a moment when you're tired and overwhelmed, and making a choice that might seem tiny but is huge for someone else. The next morning, Mark found a note slipped under his door. It was from the woman, written in neat handwriting: "Thank you again, Mark. Charlie is back home safe, happy, and healthy. You reminded us all that there are still good people in this world. If you ever want to meet Charlie again, you're always welcome." He pinned the note to his fridge, feeling a warmth he couldn't quite describe. It wasn't just the gratitude that touched him, it was the realization that kindness has a ripple effect. That one small choice, one compassionate action, can create waves that reach far beyond what you see in the moment. Over the next few days, Mark found himself noticing things he hadn't before: the elderly man struggling with groceries down the street, the neighbor's cat stuck in a tree, the young mother juggling two toddlers while trying to carry shopping bags. Each time, he remembered Charlie, the shivering little dog under the fire escape, and the profound difference a small act of care had made. One afternoon, he even found himself volunteering at a local animal shelter, helping dogs and cats that needed just a little love and attention. Every time he brushed a cat or held a puppy, he thought of Charlie and the ripple that one evening had started. He saw the same joy in the eyes of every animal and every person who came through the shelter. He realized that kindness, in its purest form, is contagious. Mark never saw the woman again after that night, and he never expected to. But Charlie's story stayed with him, a constant reminder that the world is full of opportunities to make a difference. And even when you think it's just a dog, just a small act, it can be so much more. It can restore hope, it can heal hearts, it can remind someone that goodness still exists. The rain came again one evening, and Mark walked home a little slower this time, his mind wandering. He thought of all the small moments that had led him here, of the countless acts of kindness he had overlooked in the past. He felt gratitude for that one shivering dog, for the moment he had stopped, for the choice to care. And he smiled, because he knew that in the quiet, simple ways we show kindness, the world slowly becomes a better place. So, the next time you see someone or something in need, remember Mark and Charlie. Remember that stopping for one small act, no matter how insignificant it may seem, can create a ripple of hope, love, and joy that reaches far beyond what you can see. Kindness is powerful, not because of grand gestures, but because of its quiet, persistent ability to touch lives in ways we might never imagine, and in the end, that's all it takes to make the world brighter: a little care, a little attention, a little courage to act when it matters most. Mark's story teaches us that kindness is not about fame, recognition, or even reward. It's about noticing, caring, and acting in small, meaningful ways. Every day, opportunities for kindness are all around us. A smile, a helping hand, a moment of patience, or even saving a small dog from the rain, these are the things that change lives. So go out today with a heart ready to notice the world, a mind ready to act, and hands ready to help. Because even one small act of kindness, just like Mark's, can ripple through the lives of others, creating hope, healing, and joy that the world desperately needs. Be that spark. Be that ripple. And let kindness guide every step you take.